after we have been talking in the last videos about the graphic user interface in general and the views that's related to our work here, which is the task view and resources view. Now let's move on to the next step and create our first project here in MS Project. So you can start from the home page and click on blank project. So by default, as you can see, MS Project get with the default view, which is the Gantt chart view. Also, you can see here in the top of a view, the timeline is appear. So first, we need to hide timeline because we don't need it here in the our workspace. So as we mentioned in the last video, we can move on to the view. Then go here to split view and click on timeline and check the checkbox here from timeline. So as you can see, we have the default view, which is the Gantt chart. And now starting with the creating the project. As you can see here, the first project, or by default when you create a blank project, it's come with the default name project 1. This is saved in memory actually. This is not the the file saved in our disk or drive. So the first step here, I need to save my project. So go here in file, or you can here directly click on the save, or as a shortcut you can click on Ctrl+S from keyboard. So go file and save, and you can pick your location to save your project. So I'm going to save a project with the file name project1, and as a save type, as a file type here is file related to the MS project, which is the MPP, Microsoft project. But you can save a project in different type. You can save it as a Microsoft project in 2007 version, as a project template, or a PDF file, XP file, or Excel workboard. Because as you know, Microsoft project in general, we can say we have a data that's represented in the sheet Excel. So we can export this data as a sheet Excel. At the same time, MS Project with the Gantt chart feature can represent this data as a Gantt chart graphically. So by default, the file type here is the file that's related to the MS Project, which is the MPP file. Fine. Now starting with the create your project, you need to set the properties of the project. So the first step here, you can go to the project and take overview the properties you need to set here in a project. So let's start from left to right and read some views and then go to the project information to get started with the starting date of a project and some properties that's related to get started. Okay, so as you can see here, we have something we called sub project. We can create a project and then insert here directly as a sub project. Then we can add ins. Add ins is the third application. We can install this third application directly from the Office Store, as you can see here. And this third application or extension is very help us in very situation, like create some things that's related in the data, or create a report. So you can install directly here from store to move on to create something special for your project. Okay, so some of these application or extension free, or some of them is paid actually. So the next things here, as you can see, the properties. We have many properties we need to set before we get started with our project. The first one we need to talk in this video is the project information. So click on the project information here. So as you can see, it starts with the date that's related to the project. As we mentioned in introduction, we can MS Project can help us to get started with the start date. So we can set the start date of a project, and the finish date is get as a result from the schedule in general. So schedule will be start from the project start date. Okay, so you can set here start date. For example, let's click here on the combo box for the date and time. Let's suppose our projects start on 2025 on January. So 1 January 2025. Okay, and now the current date is represent the current date of your project, because by default it's set as the date and time dot now. For now, for example, 29 for this date is as a current date. This maybe help us if we have a project for the next month or next date. Okay, so we can set this date. That's effect on the Gantt chart here. Okay, because the Gantt chart as the graphic is start from the current date. Okay, so we can change current date to represent the Gantt chart with the date of a project in general. Okay, now as you can see, finish date is not enabled. Okay, because the schedule from is start from start date. So we can change this option to tells MS Project the schedule from start from finish date. So if I change to the project finish date, as you can see, I can change the finish date. By default, we start from project start date, and this is depend on the type of a project. So if your project starts from finish, you can set or change the schedule from the finish date. So MS Project here, as a result, calculate the start date. Okay, it's very important to know we have a calendar here for our project, and by default we have three types set it by default here in MS Project: 24 hours, night shift, and standard. And in the next video we are going to create our calendar, change the calendar, change the working and non-working time. So afterwards we need go back here and set the project information for the calendar to the calendar we created from the calendar window, which is the change working time. Okay,